Hello and welcome to the Mid-Atlantic Backgammon Club study session for May 28th, 2025. If you'd like to find out more information about our study sessions or about our tournaments that we have every week after the study session, send us an email to midatlanticbg@gmail.com. So we are continuing with our match from last week. The score is we're 5 away, and our opponent is 3 away. So we're a little behind in the match. And they've opened with a 5-3, made the 3 point, and here we go. Let's roll the dice and see how we do. Okay, 4-1. And so for those who are new here, if you want to just offer a candidate move, if there's a move that you think is a good idea, you'll have to speak up and offer your play. A lot of times we'll vote on play, or we'll consider plays, even if we think they're, probably not going to win the vote. We want to consider all possibilities. So if anybody wants to give me a candidate move, go ahead.
13-9 and split 24-23.
Okay. So as you give me a candidate move, I'll put it into the Slido and you'll be able to see that as a candidate. Anything else that we ought to consider here?
Slot the opponent's 5 point and come
Okay,
up
13, probably 13-9 then, right? Is that what you're after?
No, 24-20. Sorry.
Okay, well then I'm going to put that one in also.
And 24-23. You have a 4-1, right? Yeah. So 24-23, 24-20.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's 2 up from the back.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, good. So
I don't know if it's right, but that's really crappy roll, which is we're starting to get really used to.
Yeah, so moving 2 checkers up is a good defensive type of play. Okay,
They
I
don't
think
really work real great anywhere else. So unless
right.
13-9, 13-8 seems weak, so I wouldn't even consider it.
I'm going to put it in anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and vote. And so you just pick the play that you like best. And this is anonymous voting. So, if you haven't joined us before, nobody sees what you're going to vote for. We see the totals, but we don't see the individual votes. We have no way of knowing what your vote is.
That way, when you're the only one who picks the right move, you can speak up, and when you pick a blunder, you can just sit there quietly.
That's right. That's my strategy too. All right. The votes seem to be for splitting and bringing a checker down. All right, let's do that. And as we go along, we'll go back and look at see what the computer says. In this case, that's a pretty standard play, split and bring a checker down. Okay, now our opponent played 4-2, so now they've got a good inner board. We need to do something productive here. We need to make an anchor. We need to make an inner board point. We got to do something here. All right, so let's roll them. Okay.
Let's start.
That's productive.
3-6-3.
6-3. Yeah, how are we going to play this?
Wait a minute.
It's obvious.
3-17.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to hit. That's
23-17. Yeah. See that.
And then how about after that?
Well, that's the problem, right?
Bring one down.
I did
Keep going
advance
to
it.
the 14.
Okay, keep it going, or I think somebody said bring one down, or
Go on to the 14 point.
okay, go on to the 14 point. Yeah. Any other plays that we ought to think about?
I like going on to the 14. Sorry, so
Did you mention making the 3 point?
I did.
9-3-6-3.
I said
Yeah.
that at first.
Now that's a good one.
Yeah, that's productive, right?
But I think hitting is essential here.
I also think hitting is essential here. We're behind in the race by 9 pips, so hitting is something that will be good for our game. What's our main problem in this position?
It's not just that hitting is essential, but I find that hitting in the outfield is almost always correct. There's very few like instances where it's not correct in my books.
Okay. And
So
why?
I'm
Why
just
is that?
basing on it. Well, because you accomplish many things at the same time. You get lots of pips in the race. You semi-escape a checker. You improve your position. You get outfield control. Lots of things.
You remove one of your opponent's builders.
Yes, as well.
That's in addition to everything that you said.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was going to add, I like moving up to the 14 because when we are missed on the 9, because he's going to have to roll a joker from the bar, semi-joker, to hit us on the 9 point. It would give us, it will give us 4s and 5s next roll to cover that. And to the 2 he needs to hit us from the 12 if we're on the 14 is duplicated to come in.
Okay. Furthermore, I like everything that Bill said. Furthermore, going to the 14 point connects our blots on the 14
I
and the 9.
just did.
So 14 to 9 is a
But
way we
now
could
I'm
play a
covered
5, and you'll
again.
notice that our 5s don't really play all that great otherwise. All right, well, we
Well,
can vote.
you asked what the main our vulnerability or thing is. It's about boardage here.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's the big difference.
Yes. So our opponent has a 3-point board. We have the 1-point board that we were born with.
Sorry, so what is the boardage important for exactly? I missed.
Well, boardage is just the number of points, inner board points that each side has. White has 3 inner board points. We have just the 1. And so White's offense is stronger. If they hit us, we're more likely to dance than they are. It's one measure of offensive strength.
Right.
Yeah,
And therefore, what does that mean? Is that an argument against 13-10 because we leave more blots?
That could be an argument against 13 to 10, but it was more of a general statement about, just assessing our strengths and weaknesses. In any position, I want to look at the board and say, what do we have going for us and what do we need to work on?
Yeah, the other point is it's one of the critical aspects of McGrill's safe versus bold play.
That's right.
So if always know what the boardage is, who's ahead and behind, because if you're behind in boardage, you want to play safe. If you're ahead, you have more license to play more aggressively.
Yes, that's exactly right. Okay, we can vote if you have not already. This is a good time to cast your vote.
You're spacing out.
Okay. Looks like every single vote is the hit and run. So we'll run to the 14. I don't think this is going to be all that close. Let's go back and look. Yeah. Look at the second best play is a play that I put in there, but we didn't even talk about, which is lifting the checker and putting it on the 6 point, which is strategically a weak play because it overstacks, it removes a builder. Just shows you like
it has
if a
to
weak
do
play
with
like that is number 2, then our play is clearly the right way to go.
yeah, that is dictated by boardage.
Yes, it is. It's an ugly play. Sometimes ugly plays are right, but we have a better play. Okay, so they came in with a 4-1 and split their back checkers. The splitting is in an effort to put pressure on our various blots. Okay, so we're still kind of behind in development here. Let's do something productive. That's productive.
I don't think there's a reason to vote for this.
No,
play.
I think there's no reason we
Unanimous.
vote. This is a play even I know how to make.
Waste our time.
Okay. So they came in with a 3-1 and made their anchor. Okay, now we're still outboarded, but we've got some offense going. Let's do something good.
Well, now you're glad you brought that up to the 14 because it can
Yeah.
help you make an outer
Yeah.
board point, which is really essential. So a 5 now.
Funny you should mention making an outer board point, Tom. Shall we make an outer board point here, or
It's the wrong
maybe we
5
make
to
a
make
5
that
point?
outer board point with, though.
Yeah.
You always have to make the 5, don't you?
I would make the 5.
Okay,
5.
well, I think that's the question here. 14-9 or 9-5-6-5. And I think those are
What about 24-20, 14-13? Because we're ahead in the race and we want to race.
24-20. 24-20. Sorry, say that again. What was your play?
24-20 and then lift the blot on the 14.
Let's see.
Okay,
14-13.
14-13, right.
Mm.
I think that's not productive enough.
I think we need to use the batten rule.
Excuse me.
We haven't seen him here in a little while.
Yeah, does anybody know what's going on with him?
I think I've got his email address. I'll drop him an email, see how he's doing.
Please do. I'm just worried. He was having some health challenges.
Okay, well, we may have to apply his rule here.
I don't know. This is an interesting play to me. I'd be really tempted to go 14-9. It's a better blocking point for the sixes, for the Joker double sixes, for those
Now,
checkers. Three.
That, everything you say is true, Bill. And then
I know
as
about the
we've learned
5
many
thing.
times in the
I got
past.
it. I got it. I would be very tempted to safety
Yeah.
that checker on the 14 so it doesn't get hit and cover the 9. But
Right.
I'm always wrong anyway. This is why there's a reason I'm not a grandmaster, you know.
Well, there's two things here to consider. One is boardage. Again, you're always trying to match or exceed your opponent's boardage. The other thing is if you can make the rack, that is a very substantial asset, and we can make the most valuable first 3 points, the 6, 5, and 4, which is what Mark Olson calls the rack. And that's got to be right.
Over the weekend, I was in Chicago for the tournament, and Michihito Kageyama gave a presentation, and he mentioned the rack. And then he asked, well, what is it called when you have the 6, 5, 4, and 3? And I and several other people yelled out, the barrel. And then I asked, what is it when you own the 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2 points? And Michi did not have an answer for that. And finally he said, is that just Godzilla? Because it's so good. It's so strong. So Michi said it. I'm going to start calling it Godzilla.
That's excellent. When is his book coming out? Did he mention?
Yeah, he did talk about it because he got questions about it. And he says, I forget exactly what he said, but it sounds like within a year.
So what is the logic behind calling it a barrel when it's 4 points made?
I don't know.
It's just because it's like round and I don't know, like
Well,
long
they call it the
I-
rack because you're torturing your opponent. And I think if you have the barrel, then you have your opponent over a barrel.
Sounds
Well,
good.
I thought it was staring
Easy.
down the barrel of a gun.
It
Or
could be that too.
as easy to beat as fish in a barrel or something, maybe.
Yeah.
I have another name for it, but I'll tell you privately.
Oh, all right. Okay, let's vote.
I voted for my play I know is wrong just to be that guy.
Well, so Bill, you're doing it just in case, right?
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
in
the upsides here are too big. All right, but the votes are in to make the rack.
It'll be the second best play, I think.
I think it will be too.
And I'm good at finding the second best or the very worst play.
Okay, let's take a look. Once again, we have reinforced the idea that making the 5 point is really strong, especially once you've already made the 4 point. You have additional urgency to make the 5 point because it's so much stronger in conjunction with the 4 point.
Yeah,
So sorry.
because they're all in a row. Now you've equaled their board strength, but you also have a better inner board because they have not made their 5, so they have a gap. So your priming ability when you look at position is better than white's. So when you do the Pratt analysis, your priming ability counts for more.
I'll go one step further. the rack affords you multiple game plan opportunities, which is the priming and blitzing are both viable game plans. It provides you flexibility in modes of victory. Okay, so our opponent had to make kind of a wimpy looking play.
Hmm.
And now we're on roll. Should we consider a cube?
Yes.
Good answer. Yes, we
It's
should
cube
consider a
time.
cube.
Consider it and reject it.
Well, the answer to should we consider a cube is always yes,
Yes,
because
the
we
answer
should
to that
consider it
is
every
always
roll.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, and now I do want to draw everybody's attention to the score, which is we're behind 5 away, 3 away,
Yeah.
which, should lead us to cube a little bit sooner than we might ordinarily. Okay, let's use position, race, and threats. Okay, who has the better position?
We now
We
do
do.
marginally.
I think we do, and I'm not so sure it's marginal. I think it's pretty good. We have a blocking 8 point. We have the rack. Our opponent has the same boardage, but with a worse board and a checker that's not well placed. Their spare on their 4 point is not well placed. Um, we have some, at least for the time being, we have two checkers aimed at our outfield. We might be able to make a good point out there. I think we are have good position. Race, yeah, I mean we're up 19 pips. That's no small amount. How about threats? Do we have any threats?
The threat of making another outfield point, I think.
Yeah, our threats are minimal. Threat of making an outfield point, threat of escaping our last checker. White has no blots. So I'm going to say this one is kind of no. So we have 2 out of 3. We're also behind in the match. I don't know.
As far as I remember from reading Marx Olson's book, it says that threats is not the same as it's not like the other two categories. It's not something like is not we don't have 2 out of 3. We need the two and the threats as a mandatory component of the thing. Like we always need a threat to double is what I remember from the book.
And that has to do with having market losers. Okay, well, oh, lots of people are voting already, and everybody wants to double. So that sounds like fun to me. Let's do it. Now, I think this is an easy take.
Is
I
your
can't.
arg
Yes.
the comment you made a moment ago about lack of threat meaning lack of market losers, is that enough to override what otherwise would be, if we're behind in the match, ahead in the game by these different measures, normally would seem to be a double, but is the lack of market loser that big a concern?
It can be, yeah. I think we're about to find out. I think there is a real possibility this is a small no double. That would not surprise me at all. But the tribe has spoken. We are going to double. And okay, let's go back and look at the cube. It's a very close double, and I really think it's only because of the score. If you had this position at a neutral score, I wouldn't. I don't think I would double this. The take is way too easy. We don't win enough gammons because they have an anchor. Okay, but now we got a 6-2 to play.
14-8, 13-11.
14-8, 13-11. Let's take a look at that. Nice looking play. Puts us cleans up the blot that was in direct range. They can only hit us with 6-2 and double fours. So that's 3 shots. It's not too bad. Anything else that we ought to consider? Maybe 14-6 so that we don't leave any blots.
I like bringing it down because if you look at your most valuable point, which we'd call the MVP, it is obviously your bar point
Yeah.
that you want to make. So if you'd identify any point on the board, so you want to maximize your possibility of making the MVP.
I've never heard you use that phrase before, the MVP.
That's Julius.
Ah,
He came up with that. So he has the most kind of like the most vulnerable point and the most valuable point, both. I can't remember the most, your biggest liability point, but he identifies what point is critical to furthering your game plan and maximizing ability to get that.
I happened to run into Julius as I was flying to Chicago. I was getting a plane out of Baltimore, and he was at the gate on my waiting to get on the same flight as me. So I sat next to Julius the whole way to Chicago, and we talked a lot of backgammon. It was illuminating, to say the least. All right, we're voting.
Jason, can you throw in there 14, 8, 6 to 4?
Sure.
One of our most important points to make is the 7 points.
Okay, Mike, there you go.
Thank you.
Okay, lots of votes in for 14, 8, 13, 11. I think I would like to do that too. That's the play I voted for. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, and Mike's play was third best. Okay, opponent played 13, 8, 4, 3. They kind of had to do that. They don't want to get hit. Okay, now we have double fives to play, and I don't like this roll one bit.
No, but at least it plays itself, I think.
Think it does.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
And if you say it plays itself, then I think you must mean 13, 8, 3 times 11 to 6.
Actually, I don't.
Okay.
11, 1, 6, 1, 13, 8, keeping the midpoint.
Oh, that's to look better.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It strips us all the way around. Other than, well, we'll have a spare on the
Yeah,
eight.
let's take a look at that. So 13, 8. Yeah,
Yes.
this is a lot better than what I had suggested.
Mhm. I like that.
Yeah. All right, those are here's the play I suggested, which is
Mm.
I think this has got some problems.
You suggested that?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Wow.
I think when you move that on the board, you would immediately just look at that and go, "Ooh, that's terrible."
Because our junior's too far away from home.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Not only that, if he gets a 6, he pops out his extra guy from the 3, and he has complete control of
Right.
everything.
All right, so the votes like this play. So here we go. And yes, not close. The play I suggested is a whopper. All right, they popped out one checker, and now we have a 5-3 to play. This is starting to get problematic.
It's because you.
Jeez.
Bill, were you about to blame me for something?
Yeah, because you haven't rolled a 4 in forever. We realize.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
You're right. Thanks. Or a 6,
No, it's
One of those numbers that doesn't have a 5 or a 3 in it.
Yeah.
there's.
Two
I
checkers
think
down.
putting option 2, option 3, option 4 up there is giving too
Yeah.
much credit for there being other
I
options.
think it has to be 13, 8 and 13, 11, 13, 10. What else?
Hmm.
Yeah, hard to see another play. Any other play will leave a direct shot. or
Oh, jeez.
13-5 is the only other legal move that
doesn't wreck our board.
But
All right.
that can't be right. So
Let's bring 2 down and let's roll a better number next time.
that works.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Now we got some juice here. This is great. All right. Any suggestions?
13 to 10.
13,
10 to
10.
10. Okay. I'll say 8 to 5. I'll also say 10 to 9, 8 to 6. I'm not so sure I like either of those, but
No. You
Oh.
wanna give him 2 shots, one direct, one indirect.
Well, the reason I'm suggesting that is because the stack on the 8 point is begging to be resolved.
Yeah, but there's something worse than a stack. I know you don't like stacks, but
I don't like stacks.
but in this case, you would be forced to like them. Because I think we're ahead, we're doing well, we have a stronger board, we should just play safe.
Right.
Okay. Well, so I think I agree with all that, but I think it is worth thinking about the possibility of winning a gammon. We are 5 away. A gammon would take us to Crawford. That makes a gammon somewhat more valuable than it ordinarily is, a little bit.
I think your point is it's always good to think about unstacking as one of your options.
That's right. That's what I'm
It's-
getting at.
It's
I'm
very,
not
very
voting for either
valuable.
of those plays. I just wanted to bring them up because I
Yeah.
think it's worth thinking about.
Yeah, that was one of the things Kent Goulding was covering at one of the things is he was talking about, addressing stacks even when you think that may not be the best play. It often is the best play,
Because I
particularly
want to, yeah.
when you have a vertical prime, if you know what that is.
I want to point out how inflexible our position is. That I think that's the real downside here. I mean, we can resolve that pretty quickly, but for now, it's not looking all that hot. Let's not roll double fives in next roll. Now that I said it, Okay, this is the play. Everybody likes 13 to 10, and it is the play that I voted for also. Okay, 11, 8, 7, basically tied. And I think that's pointing out the structural liability of our big stack and inflexible position. But we
And
picked
that
a
one
play
left.
that's basically tied.
Oh no, it's still
So
on the one.
the system wants us to leave 3 shots.
Yes, because of our inflexibility. And it's
yeah,
it's
that's why
it's
I'm
not really
a
3 blots. I mean, it is 3 blots, but it's only a shot on a 7 point. The checker on the 10 and the 11 cannot be hit on this turn. We would, if we made this play, we would only get hit with 2, 5, 2, 4, and 3, 4.
Based on the equity difference, we're right too.
Yes, that's right.
Would you ever have come up with that move?
Sure.
Jason?
Yeah. I was thinking about that play also. I don't think it's that hard to come up with because, again, I want to come back to emphasize, let's look at what we have here. We have a structural liability with no spares on the 6 and the 5. This is not a very flexible position. And 13 to 10, while it looked good in terms of cleaning up blots, this should say to you, oh, I got a little bit of a problem here. My position is somewhat inflexible. And I think that's important to be able to see in positions like this.
But Jason, leave that up for 1 second.
Yep.
A somewhat counter argument to everything you just said is this play actually has a higher win percentage. It's the lack of gammon, and you were right to say we really need to explore, the value of the gammon, but it doesn't make it seem from the equity table like it thinks that this is a less risky move in the sense that we have a higher win chance out of it.
Yeah. Higher win chance. We win fewer gammons. We lose fewer gammons.
And also the difference between the best and the second best is minimal, right?
That's
Zero,
right.
zero,
That is a
4.
negligible difference.
Negligible.
But the point is, but Donald, the point is, you looked at this play and you thought, "There's no way I could make that. It's too
Yeah.
loose."
Yeah.
And I think the point that I'm making is, yeah, it is very loose, but it is much, much more flexible than the play that we actually made. And so if you get away with it, you will be happy to have made this play.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so they played, they came in and slotted their 5 point. Now we have a 6-2 to play. I think some of our
Perfect.
flexibility problems will be solved
Yeah.
here.
Jason might argue that we should unstack the 8,
I
but
would
I would say
absolutely.
bring home the
I'm
10.
thinking that a 5, if we do 10 4 10 8, we are going to hate life on a 5.
Yeah. So let's not play 10-4, 10-8. I think the best play is this.
8-2, 8-6.
Yeah, but I think this is the second best play.
Oh, yeah, he does have that blot there.
Yeah. And this play, I would never make this play. I think the lack of flexibility here is just awful, and we would pay for this somewhere down the road.
You could see a lot of players that feel unsatisfied saying they're clearing from the rear.
Clear from the rear, right? What's the saying? Clear from the rear
Yeah.
and don't ask questions. Well, I'm asking questions right now.
Yeah, because it's 7 away, it's not so hard to clear. If it was a 9 point, that'd be different. And the
It
roll
would be
was
different, yeah.
was 5-3 in that case, or 5-1 or something like that. But yeah, here it's got to be 8-6 and 8-2.
I
All
think
right, let's vote.
if it was on the 9 point, it still wouldn't be clear from the rear because
do the
I
two.
think, well, one, even if it was there and you could clear it, clear in the stack, this is that very situation I was talking about. This is where getting rid of the stack is more important than clearing from the rear.
Yes, I think that's right.
Okay.
Can I propose that they should open a new XG window and modify the position, put the 10 on the 9 and see how it changes, and then give us a 6-1 and see how it changes?
All right, I'll do that after we vote.
Well, Eric, there's a big difference on that one because we don't have the safe 1 off the 8.
Oh yeah, it blocks the 6, so it would have to be like a 5-1 to give us instead of
Yeah, the roll had to be different also
Yeah.
to be the same concept. It'd be like to play a 5, I don't know what, a 5 something. It's too much different.
Yeah, I think right. I think it is too different. Okay, are we voting? 8-6, 8-2 with a small lead. Okay, let's make that play. I'm quite sure that was right. And I get to claim that as being right.
What?
Yeah, I voted for that. I like the flexibility in that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jason said give him the 7 shot, huh?
They
In other words,
were
the blot on the
leaving
20,
us
so-
a return shot, and we have the better board. So I was
That's
perfectly
right.
willing to give
Correct.
them a combo for a direct return.
Right.
Yep, correct.
Okay, they play double sixes and pull the checker out. Now we have 4-1 to play.
6-2 for sure.
No, I don't think so. I think it's 8-4, 6-5.
Yeah, play it safe.
8-4, 6-5. And any thoughts about like 10-5?
It's reasonable. I don't think it's better, but it's certainly reasonable.
Should we consider also 8-4-2-1, leaving the 6 with that
Okay.
check?
8-4-2-1.
Sure. Have no blots at all. Even unhittable ones.
Exactly.
In case he does, in case a future play he hits and we hit, we don't want to be able to hit.
He's close to having a board that we really don't want to be hit on.
Yeah.
Also, yep. He's got 2s, 3s, and 5s that close that thing, plus
Right.
8s. Double 4s, for example. Oh my God.
Okay, let's vote.
Get this slide thing going.
We specialize in caring for others. Such like children who help sit down way.
Bill Powell, can you mute your TV?
Just turn it on. Let me go get this. Get the controller.
Okay, the votes are for 8, 4, 6, 5, and one rogue vote for 10 to 5, which I would not be surprised to find out that 10 to 5 is right.
It was me, so I'm being that guy.
You're the guy?
Well, I think it's worth the risk of a 7 for the flexibility. You're gonna leave a
look
shot
at
next
how
roll,
much
and
additional flexibility. It looks pretty good, right?
yeah, I mean, you're gonna leave I don't like being completely stripped on both points in that outfield. You're gonna leave a shot.
Right. Look, see, this is a little front loaded.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Bill, you mentioned at the beginning very astutely that you're supposed to stay anonymous when you're recommending blunders.
Oh, sorry.
So
Not this time. Bill Spruce, you may collect your 42 millipoints of smug equity at the door.
There you go.
All right, but now we're going to have to be careful. They've made their 5-point board.
Mm.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't have this problem.
Can I use a curse word here?
I just want to remind you, if you made my move, you wouldn't have this problem right now. That's all I'm saying.
We had left that
He's-
extra blot on the 6, like I said, we would be able to survive it too.
Bill's cashing in his smugness now.
Because now you got a real problem.
Yeah, we do.
We do have a problem.
Break the board.
Okay, 6, 5, 6, 1.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't leave a block
No, 10-4.
No, I have to do the 10-4 now. Yeah. The
10-4.
one we should have done 2 moves ago.
It was 10-5, I think.
Do have
But
that
whatever.
still.
Now we have a real fight on our hands.
All
You
these
know,
guys.
If we're gonna have 10-4, I would like to also include 10-5, 2-1.
Sure. Yep.
I'm not sure why, but I just want it in there.
Well, sure, because he hits with the 7 and we hit 2-6. We don't want him to hit with the 2. That's why.
Uh-huh. So Rick, you were the one that suggested breaking the board.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe it, but definitely.
I don't think it's right. I think it would be right, Rick, if he didn't have all those spares in his outfield. He's going to stay there, and we're going to have the same problem next roll.
Yeah. He's not crunching, so I guess we have to take the chance. Yeah.
All right, the votes are for 10-4. Here we go. All right, everybody cringe.
Oh, yikes.
Here comes the
And then we
cue.
get doubles. See, doubles is how you get out of it if you do did the 6-1,
All right,
6,
it was pretty
Rick,
close.
Right.
and then double 6 with a 1.
Yeah. It would have been
Now
and then double
double
6s would have been the absolute joker roll.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, now what do we do?
Yeah.
Lose. Are they offering a cube here?
Yeah.
yeah, that's a pass.
This is such an obvious pass. It's not even funny.
Pass.
I don't know. I'm chuckling a little.
Like our chances.
I would like to. I would love to play this for money, Jason. I'll give you the cube and a point.
What's the score? 3-way.
It's 5-way, 3-way. What's our take point? Well, since we're redoubling for the match, then it's whatever the match equity is at 5 away Crawford, which is, what is it, 15.8%. It's low. Can we squeeze out that kind of equity out of this?
I doubt it.
I kind of doubt it too.
Yeah.
We're in rough shape.
I think it's almost true. We're more likely to be gammon than we are to win the game. Although the gammon becomes
Well,
irrelevant.
Gammon's going to be irrelevant because if
I
we
know.
take,
I'm just saying that's how bad the take is. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that actually makes their double a bad double if they're strong gammon.
Yes.
I don't think they have a lot of gammon chances because we only have 3 checkers on the outside. They're not going to win
No,
a
they don't.
ton.
I'm just saying they have more gammons than we have wins.
Uh, they have more gammons than we have wins. Could be close. Well, all right, we're voting. All right. Nobody likes this. All right, we're passing. Good night. Let's take a look. Huge pass. They have 13% gammons. Okay, Bill Powers right. They have 13% gammons. We only have 11% wins, so we're, not enough.
They have
So
more gammons than we have
it's not
wins.
too good. It's not too good for the opponent.
No, not too good because uh they just don't win enough gammons. And we can still, sneak out. Look, our winning chances were almost 12%. That's not surprising to me. We're not completely dead. They haven't finished us off yet. They have
Well,
to
they don't.
complete their prime, then they
They
have
have,
to roll their prime, and rolling the prime is slightly harder with that dilly builder. I'm not suggesting at all that our position is good. I'm just saying it's not totally dead.
Would you have waited one turn before
No,
doubling if you were
this
white?
is the turn because rolling a 1 or otherwise closing the 8 point is a market loser.
already a market. There is no
They've
market to
already lost their
lose.
market, really. And it's not enough gammons
Well,
to
they
go
already.
fishing for.
But I mean, if I were white, wouldn't I wait one roll and see if I can really be too good to double and go for the gammon?
Yeah, it could end up being too good to double, but right now it's not yet too good to double. Your
Mhm.
position is good, but it's not overwhelming.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
The thing is,
You can't chase
if
a
you
3 gammon out of this.
You can roll double
you
three,
wait,
and you or double fives, and then you have a problem.
Yes, that's right. If you wait, you could run into an issue.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was gonna
Just take the
say.
2 points.
The reason it's a pass is because you can run into issues, so it's more statistically better for you to get a pass now than to risk like losing all your advantage as white, I would
Right.
say.
And
So
get
yeah.
and as for white, getting to Crawford is especially strong, right? You've nullified the use of the cube for the trailer. Okay, next game. Here we go. All right. Okay, so it's 5 away, Crawford. So winning a gammon is not that valuable for us. So we're gonna play this like it's double match point.
Yep.
If we were even away, then winning a gammon would have some value to us.
Yes.
So you're saying that rather than like making a special effort to win a gammon now, when we don't have a cube, we would rather wait until post Crawford when we can
Yes.
like
What I'm saying
double
Yeah,
is
one now and four next
fun
time.
plays like hitting loose on the 3 point are probably not going to be right.
Well, not just the 3 point, you'll pick up 2 blocks with 6-1 hit twice.
Yeah. Okay, I put in 3 candidate plays for the voting.
Mhm.
It's about 12 minutes to the hour, so we'll go for another few minutes and then stop.
Another option would be to hit on the 3 and split in the back.
Uh-huh. Okay. Right, let's vote. We have 6 votes in.
Okay, trying to get to that thing again.
Okay, the voting is tied, and now the double hit has taken the lead. Okay. Oh, now
Where is it?
the natural big split has taken the
Oh.
lead.
96.
Okay, well, this is close. We got 4 votes for the split. Let's do the split. I think the hitting plays are somewhat anti-thematic. Let's go back and look. 13, 11, 6, 3. Very close. I'm gonna have to go back and look at a rollout on this. Okay, they double hit. We came in hitting. Now they stepped out to the outfield, and now we have a 5-2 to play.
Double hit.
Double hit again, sure.
Double
11,
hit.
9,
So
and
what's the
6.
double hit? 11 to 9 and 6 to 1.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
About
Any
11,
other-
9, 13, 8.
13, 8, 11, 9.
What about 24, 22, 11, 6?
All
All
too
safe.
stacky, and I don't think we need the anchor.
Nope, sure don't.
We don't need the anchor because they only have 8 in the zone. They're stacked up, and
Yep.
we don't care about losing a gammon. So the anchor has somewhat less value at this score.
Right. Those, it's better to have them split. There's more flexibility.
Also, 11 to 6 overstacks the 6 point.
Yes, correct. 8 to 3 is better than 11 to 6.
Yeah, I do.
Probably.
I actually think 8 to 3 is better than 11 to 6.
Not that I want it. It's
Right, not that I want that either. Okay, we're voting. We'll see if we can do 2 more votes before we quit. All right, looks like the double hit is very popular. That's the play I voted for. Everything else is kind of stodgy. Oh, XG doesn't like our double hit. Oh, the other hitting play. This is the play Rick suggested.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting just one guy.
Yeah. Okay, they brought both in, and now we have a 4-1 to play. And this looks pretty easy.
Make the 5 point.
Make the 5 point.
Yeah.
Gotta be right.
Yeah.
Okay, now we got some options. Double twos. All right. This looks complicated, so we're going to make this our last vote of the afternoon.
I'll throw out a candidate,
All right.
make their 5
Uh-huh.
and 13, 11.
That's what I like too.
Mm-hmm.
That was my initial thought as well.
Okay.
That's what I thought after I heard everybody say it.
Okay, I'm going to throw one out.
I
I don't
hadn't
know
even
if it's-
seen that play before they saw it. I saw they
make the
said, they
9
said
point
it's-
is
Yeah,
an option.
making the 9 points worth looking at.
Now we do have a race lead. That might be relevant.
Mm-hmm. I like making the 5 just to make sure that they don't get it.
Sure, right. So, I've been saying things like, oh, we don't really need an anchor because, it's the Crawford game. Gammons
It's
are
still true.
meaningless.
Well,
But,
and that's
you still don't want to get blitzed.
they still get 8 in the box, but yeah, we don't want
Yeah.
double 3s or double 5s or something to.
Well, you want to take the golden point, which is the second
Right.
most important point in the game.
Right. Okay, let's vote, and then we'll call it a
Tom, I thought the most important point was the point you win when you double your opponent out.
yeah.
I would agree with that.
All right. The votes are all for making the golden point anchor and bringing a checker down. So let's do it. Let's finish on a high note. Did we win? Yes.
And they got double 5s. So I'm
maybe.
really glad we did what we did because
Well-
double 5s would have been a lot better for them.
It wanted us to play eight.
The other one was
they
8
were
to
close.
6. But we got the main part of the play right, which is to make the golden point anchor. 13 to 9.
8 to 6 was actually better.
Well, it doesn't leave a shot. So this
By
play,
7,000ths.
yeah. Let's
I don't
not
mind-
bother with that.
I
This
don't
play
mind
gives
them-
them 6-2, double 4s, 4-3, and 5-2 to hit. So what is that? 7 return shots.
Yeah, I like unstacking the midpoint, which brings something into play better. And if they're going to hit it, a lot of their numbers make them break the anchor on the 4.
Yes.
true. Yeah.
And when we're holding their 5 point, I'm not as overwhelmingly concerned about getting hit. We always have an avenue back in, right? So
Well, it could come back to the 1 point and play an anchor guard game back there, which would give you a lot of contact.
So
Okay, thanks for joining
here's-
us at the Mid-Atlantic Backgammon Club study session. And if you're interested in joining us for the study session or for our tournaments that happen after the study session, send us an email at midatlanticbg@gmail.com. Okay, thanks everyone.
I have a comment